Welcome back to Organize with Grace podcast. Do you feel like you're always struggling to get it together? Do you feel like you're burning the candle at both ends? Feeling completely disorganized in your home and life, that it's starting to affect you mentally and emotionally? Well, you've come to the right place if you need encouragement, easy and simple organization tips, or you just want to know that you're not alone in this season of life. Hi, I'm Grace Ramon, your fellow working mom and professional organizer. I believe in you, friend. You can get it together. Now let's get organized. So my 50th episode is a big milestone for me in my podcasting journey because it hasn't been an easy road. I work full time and I've got my 3.5-year-old and my family, and I've had my battles, my doubts, but I'm so grateful for each episode and that's been produced and how much it has impacted you in your own journey. And to celebrate, I invited my friend and coworker, Danielle Esbit-Ayala, because she has been with me as a listener from the beginning. And first of all, Danielle, she's here with us. Welcome
Hello.
To Organize with Grace.
I'm so glad to be here. I'm actually really excited.
Yay, me too. And first of all, Danielle, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for taking time out of your busy schedule to listen to the podcast and then to provide feedback. And you have encouraged me more than you know. So thank you so much.
I'm glad to. I do every time you have a new podcast come out. I always want to call you because I've never known a podcaster. So to actually know you personally is just so exciting for me to have that personal level when you're talking on your podcast. So to me, it's just so special when I listen to you and that I can call and tell you my thoughts because I have a lot on different topics on how much it helps me.
Yeah. And I treasure that feedback too. So Danielle, please tell the listeners a little bit more about you, who you are, what you do, and your most favorite thing that you love doing.
So like Grace said, my name is Danielle Esbit-Ayala. I'm a social worker by day and a mom and wife on all the other times in between. I have a 10-year-old son who, is, everything to me and keeps us super busy. And then me and my husband have been married for 13 years. So, life and marriage and everything else. And then I find time to run. I am a runner and I am currently training for a marathon and I'm super excited to find time to do that and being a wife, mom, and full-time worker, which is not easy.
No, it's not. And that's why I take the time to say, more power to you working moms and really this is my motivation for this, for this podcast is to help us out because we need all the help that we can get.
We do. We do. And the organization part, even though we may not do everything in our life with it, it's really nice to know that it's in the back of my mind and that I can refer to it all the time, being like, oh, what was that one time that Grace said to do this? Or, she had this person on. So you can refer back to it, even though it's not as easy to do every day in your life.
Yeah, no.
to what's the word? Put it in operation, to do it,
Yeah. The execution part.
The execution,
easy,
yes.
right?
No, when it
you
sit there and have good intentions and you're like, listen, I really want to do this part, but it's going to take a whole day. And do I have a whole day to do that right now? But then if you start taking bits and pieces of it and being like, okay, I'm standing in my closet. What am I not going to wear?
Yeah.
Take it out. And that's what I do.
Yeah. And what you need to know about Danielle is I find it really flattering because she is a very organized person to begin with, and for her to listen and be interested in this podcast, I feel like I'm doing something right. So Danielle, what did get you interested in continuing to listen to the podcast?
So my friend told me about the podcast. She was like, Grace has a podcast. And I was like, really? So when it was the financial one, I had done Dave Ramsey. My husband and I had done it a few years ago. So I kind of knew all about it. But again, I like to continually learn about those things. I like to learn about money and if there's areas that I can work on. And then when it changed to the organize with Grace, I was like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, this is right up my alley because I love organization. I love to be, though you would never know looking at my desk right now, but it is dirty. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And so I'm constantly having to learn how to organize to make things more easy and accessible and better.
Yeah.
And it doesn't ever stop, I don't think, because I think that when you have in your head, like, this is the system, something's going to change and it's not going to work anymore. So you always need to come back and find out that the system is what it is.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think that goes for all parts of our life. Like even looking at your pantry, like you could look at a pantry and be like, everything is so organized, but something can flip and change. And you're like, well, this isn't working anymore. So
Mm-hmm.
it's always good to hear new ideas of what other people are doing. So when I listen to your podcast, I'm always like, oh, okay, I'm either doing it right or I could change it up or I just need to start all over.
Right?
So it's true. I
That's
mean, I
life,
think it's an
right?
area that it's just never going to stop because
Yeah.
over, I mean, just over the 42 years that I've been alive and seeing my mom do her organization compared to like organization now, it's always evolving
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
something new comes out to make it quote unquote easier.
Right. Right. Exactly. Evolving is right. I love that word. And so upon listening to these episodes, what do you feel? And I know this is so much fun because we talked about this before because I wanted to know your, top 3
Yes.
episodes that you really resonated with. And so could you tell us your top 3 and, real life wins you experienced just by listening to these episodes?
So my top 3 have been the burnout, the color palette of our closets and life, and then the picture organization. Um, those 3, I think, have impacted me the most because, for example, the picture one, although I'm super organized with my pictures, it was nice to hear that I was actually doing it right without even having someone tell me that I was doing it right. So, organizing by year, by month, I do that digitally. And then I print them I do a whole album at the end of the year for that full year. So that was good to hear her talk about that because I was doing it. But it's also good to hear other ways to do it too, because she had different advices for different ways to do it if that way didn't work. For me, that works.
Yeah.
But that's what I like to hear. And that's what I was like, oh my gosh, I'm doing it right. So it's just that reassurance that I do have it together sometimes.
You do, you do. So, yeah, so the episode that she's referring to is episode 40 with professional organizer Darla DeMauro, that is her specialty. And so she got a chance to, if you want to go back to it, it's such a good episode. She
Yes.
gives us lots of good tips, like Danielle said, and to reassure, if you're like Danielle, to reassure that, yeah, okay, cool. I do have a system. I do have a way of organizing all of these pictures. And so that's cool.
Yeah.
So what was your next one?
Okay. So my next one was burnout with
Yeah.
Tambora. I personally know Tambora too.
Yeah.
We all work in the same, well, we used to work in the same job.
Right.
Um,
Right.
burnout. It's funny because we talk about this and then we just had a training recently about it not being burnout called something else. But I really like the word burnout compared to what it was called.
I do too. I do too. And I'm going to
Be-
keep calling it that.
I know.
Burnout.
Because I have gotten to a point where I was burnt out with my job. I mean, I'm still there, burnt out on my job, but I do it
Mhm.
because I need to. Like,
Yeah.
there's nowhere for me to go. Like, I know that I could get a new job, but honestly, the stability, the flexibility, the pay, the benefits, the vacation, when you add up everything, I get everything that I need for my job. And honestly, I love what I do. But I think that
Yeah.
when we were thrown into the pandemic, it was we didn't know what was going on. And half the time, I don't know how to do my job doing it at home. And so I
Yeah.
think that I got burnt out. And then honestly, burnout came within myself at home because this office bedroom that I am currently in had turned into my everything. It had turned into my office. I have my treadmill in here. It was my workout room before that. So
Yeah.
this room had become everything. And I honestly, it was just the other day that I realized I'm burnt out of my room because this
Wow.
room has
Hmm.
turned into my everything. I work out in here, which I'm supposed to get joy from. I work out. I mean, I work here where this is my job that I get paid for to support the house that I'm in. And
Yeah.
so I think I got burnt out of my room. And so it made me realize that I needed to move my workout space out of this room. I needed to move it to the
Yeah.
garage so that I'm not working out and staring at my work office
And
too.
doesn't that you don't realize how much of an effect it has on you just
Yes.
by looking at that
Oh my
item or
gosh.
that area, right?
Yes, because I would have my iPad when I'm working out, doing my mirror app, going, this is where I work. Look at I'm staring at my work computer, I'm staring at my monitor. I have all of my work stuff out and I'm like looking at it thinking to myself I should be working instead of working out. So
Oh,
that's when I
yeah.
came to the idea that this is too much for me. And
Yeah.
I literally burned out on my house office. And so
Hmm.
going into the office is really great, but that can be stressful too with the amount of outbreaks that we have been having.
Right.
And so I just feel like I'm so trapped in a little world right now. And
Mhm.
listening to you talk about our jobs and burnout in it's a lot of pressure because your income comes from your job and you
Yeah.
want to do the best that you can do in your job. And I do what I'm asked. And you know, I was actually, when you took your time off, I was like, I think I need time off. And it's funny because I take the time off. Like I take my 2 weeks at Christmas, but when you think about what you do at Christmas time, it's stressful. I'm home
It
with my
is.
son. I'm home. I mean, we're doing Christmas, you're doing New Year's, you're going to family. And my friend told me, Danielle, you don't actually take a break because
Wow.
you're busy being
Yeah.
mom and it's the holidays. She goes, you need to take it when your son is in school and that you can just take that time during the day when he's gone to take your break. And I went, oh my gosh, they're right. But I take my
Wow.
time when I'm
Yeah.
with my son because that's when his breaks are so I can hang out with him. But I don't realize you also need breaks other ways too.
Mom needs her mom
Yes.
time,
Yes.
right? And so that's so awesome that you have found solutions just by listening and just by I think for me it even did like impact me so much because he put into words the things that I was feeling, and
Yeah.
sometimes you're wondering like am I okay, or what's how can I even describe how I'm feeling. And I think that for me, even for
Hmm.
myself, listening to him and having a conversation with Tambora, what it did for me.
And I
So
think the conversations are what it's important because Grace, just by
yeah.
talking to you, I learned a lot too. Just
Yeah.
outside of the conversation with listening to you and Tambora, I
Yeah.
learned more talking to you too because I called you after that episode to tell you that's
Yep.
how I'm feeling.
Yep.
And then we
You
talked more
did.
about it. And
Yeah.
then talking with other work, like my friend that I have at work, she's my really good friend at work, and talking to her. And she's like, and that's made me realize that I don't take a break,
Wow.
that you just go. So I think that
Yeah.
having people to talk to about it who also work in your same company, because when you talk to other people outside of your company, they'll just say, why don't you just do this, this, and this? It's not the same. It's You need
Mm-hmm.
to hear it from people within the agency so they know how you feel and you know how they feel because we're all under the same umbrella.
Correct. Correct. Wow. Thank you for sharing that. That's so wonderful. And going from there, I want to touch on what you just said, having a conversation. And that's really my intent with this podcast, is really having, even though when I'm recording, I'm talking to my wall, but I do picture talking with you, talking with, the listener about these things, because
Hmm.
they're real life. And, okay, look, when you're burnt out and, you're thinking about are you really wanting to do your closet, or,
Yeah.
anything organization? You're like, no, I got to take
No.
care of myself. And so I love that it was actually by accident that Tambora and I had talked about doing that burnout episode. And I think that it really impacted a lot of people. It's the most downloaded episode. So that's
Yeah. I mean,
you
it
know?
is, it's powerful. And I think I even told you, you and Tabora should do more together because
Yeah.
the two of you together had so much knowledge with
Oh,
everything.
yeah.
And
It's in
so,
something's in the works, so
yeah,
we'll
no,
see.
it's good. No, you two are good. You know, and it's fun. I love your solo episodes. I love your conversation episodes. Um, but like I said, I think knowing the both of you, and I think that's where like under coming from understanding it is
Yeah.
because I know you guys, and I think it's so cool to know the people, and
Yeah.
I think you get a lot from it.
Yeah. Yeah. I believe so. All right. So top
So,
three, number three,
number
what is it?
three, the color palette of your closet. This one was, oh my gosh, so inspiring because, like she said, I go to my closet and I don't know what to wear, or because you look at something and go, oh gosh, I hate wearing that. Why do I even have it in my closet? But then realizing it's not that I don't like it, it's that it doesn't look good on me. And
Yeah.
so, from other people's perspective, I kind of knew my color scheme by what other people had told me, being like, "Oh, Danielle, the red looks good on you." "Oh, Danielle, that mustard shirt looks really good on you," or, um, you know, I can't remember what else, but I knew some other colors didn't look good on me. Um, One of them being gray, and I love gray, but it just always felt so wrong. And so,
Mm.
listening to her talk about picking your color scheme based on what colors are best for you to pick your closet, I mean, it was like mind blowing. Like, yes,
Yeah.
you should have your closet be the colors that look best on you so that you do know when you go to your closet in the morning that everything is going to look good on you. You're not going to feel like, oh, I just don't want to wear any of these clothes because what you're wearing will be flattering on you. Your color scheme will be based because it looks good on you based on her evaluation. So I think that I need to dig more into the colors that I have, but I do know gray is not one of them based on some internet searching. And I have been getting slowly rid of my gray, although I'm in gray today because I there are some favorite ones that I can't get rid of.
Me
But
too. If you guys see our, screen, I'm also wearing gray.
yeah,
So
it's not
we
our
can't get
color.
away from gray.
I know. So, but now that I'm aware of sort of because I haven't taken the quiz yet for her thing. I did do some, like I said, I did some research online, kind of figuring out what my color scheme was by doing some other things. And I'm a deep autumn. So it's like the deep reds, the deep yellows, the
Yeah.
navy blues, which I love navy blue, but there's not a lot that I like to wear with a navy blue.
Yeah.
But it made me realize, so like I said, I have been slowly going through my closet and telling myself, which ones can I get rid of? And when I choose new outfits lately, I have been saying, oh, let me get this color instead of this color,
Yeah.
based on what I know.
Yeah, and I
So
believe it expands the possibilities,
it
It
really
does
does
get us out
because
of
you don't
that,
think
like,
about the other
mode.
colors.
No,
It's
I know I don't,
I know, like the rainbow. That's it. Expand on the rainbow.
Yeah. Yeah, and so I had a chance to, as my post, I think I posted it
Yeah,
recently, but,
recently.
I had a chance to do the color consultation, and
Right.
I think, it's a one-time deal, like, she'll give you the palette, and it has really helped me take a real look at my closet. And when I do go, I haven't been lately a whole lot, with shopping, but I know that when I do, I have some options as far as colors that I can look for that actually look good on me. So
Right.
that's a
And you had
favorite
showed
of
me
mine
yours.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So, like I said, that really inspired me because I do have a hard time getting dressed in the
yeah,
morning. And a lot of it is, I mean, the pandemic doesn't help because I'm wearing a sweatshirt and leggings every day. But, you
Same.
know, I when I do have to get on screen with families, I cannot wear a sweatshirt. So it's picking out the creams. One of them, my colors is cream. And honestly, I don't know how many cream sweaters I have because I'm drawn to the creams in the winter time
Yeah.
sweaters. And I have 100. I mean, I have like so many. And I kept thinking, I really need to like get away from creams. But honestly, it was one of the colors that they said looked best on you. So, I was
Yay.
like, okay, there we go. So I do. I have a lot of cream sweaters. So cream is my go to for sweaters, apparently.
All right. Yep. Yep.
So,
Oh, good. Well,
but it is,
thank you. Yeah, those are
yeah,
great episodes. And um, I'm thinking about those conversations, and I'm like, I myself, like I said earlier, I learned so much just talking to these guests like you
right.
have.
I mean, and you're
And
the expert too, because you've done all the organization stuff. So to hear it from other people too, I find like you organize in certain areas, right? So,
yeah.
but I mean, color scheme is not one of your organizational areas because it's such a tiny little area of the whole organization, right? Like,
Mhm.
so you probably didn't know much
No, I
about it.
didn't.
So,
Yeah.
like I said, it's just there's all these little areas of organization that you don't think about the big scheme pictures. When you think about organization, it's like the closet, the pantry, the cupboard,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
garage. The bigger pictures, not the little ones like the closet colors.
Right, right. And what's so fun about it is as because of course, my philosophy, like a lot of other organizers, is to first declutter because we simply do have too much
Too
stuff.
much.
We have too much stuff, and but it is tough. It's emotionally very hard to get rid of them for a lot of us, including myself. But once you get into the momentum, get into the mode, you will get into the more fun parts, the details of like picking out your colors and being
Yes.
able to wear the things that you want to wear. So it gets, it's different stages that
Yeah.
we can have
And when
individually.
you, and this is a whole nother area, but even at the organization of like a closet, doesn't, closets don't just have to be your clothes closet, right? I mean,
Right.
as I
Yeah.
sit here, this closet back here in my office has a ton of books that I don't read. I
Mhm.
finally, after I don't know, I every Christmas break, I go through this closet and try to declutter and declutter
Yeah.
and declutter. And finally this year, after how many, I mean, I've lived in my house for 12 years, how many years I've skipped. Oh my gosh, I might need this book. Oh my gosh, I might need this
Uh-huh.
book. Oh my gosh. I finally came to the conclusion this past December to get rid of all the books because I'm not going to read them again. They have been sitting there year after year after year.
Yeah.
So this was
Yeah.
like the first year that I finally got to that point, like you said, that like emotional point to be like, I spent $20 on this book.
Mhm.
It's time for it to move on. And I want to move it on to someone else to use it because when I look at the amount of money I've spent on books, it's a lot because I
Yeah.
love reading certain types of books and I've spent so much money on them. And I just think that I cling to how much money I've spent on them that I just still need to move on. And I know that you did that in a previous podcast about, what to keep, what to donate, what to
Yeah.
resell, and trying to, either get back some of that money that you spent because you're like, I don't know if I can get rid of it or not. But for sure, it's that detaching from that emotional part of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And how did you feel? How did you feel
Oh my
when you
gosh, I feel
finally got to it?
great.
Yeah.
I mean, there's
Yeah.
still a ton of books down there. The shelf is still full,
That's
but it's not
okay.
as full.
Great.
I did get rid of some more things thinking I don't need this knickknack. I don't need this. Um, I don't even know. I did do, and my son too. And that was the other thing is my son probably got rid of 15 pounds of toys and clothes that
Yeah.
and I think for
Wonderful.
him, he's 10. So when I finally said, honey, let's do this,
Mhm.
he got rid of like the detachment of the clothes. And I mean, there were clothes from when he was like 5 or 6. And I think he just was like clinging to them.
Yeah.
And so he did a deep clean in his room and I let him do it on his own. I didn't want to be there being like, are you sure? Are you sure? I let him do it. And I said, what's
Yeah.
donation? What's throwaway? What's broken? And so he did 2 big garbage fulls, and we did donate a lot of clothes and toys. And I think that felt really good for him. And so I think that it
Yeah.
showed him how much more room he had in his room. And he even goes, Mom, one whole drawer is empty.
Amazing. Amazing.
Amazing.
I get
So
excited over an empty drawer, so I feel him. So
yeah, no, so it's really good that I like we talked about too, Grace, was that you have to let them be who they are
yeah.
and not portray your obsessions on them, and let them be what they want to be and not have to be what you do. So I let him have his space. And so getting rid of that probably 15 pounds of toys and clothes was a big deal to him, but it felt really good as a mom to be like, okay, he is learning something. He's, but it is
Yeah.
his space. So he needs to learn to do it and not me come in and toss everything because
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm done, you know? Um,
Yeah, and that's so awesome that you did that for him because we definitely had this conversation, and I think it's good that we go over it because you said to me, I let him be who he is when it comes to his organization. While you're highly organized in your own ways, your son is also organized, but
yes,
not in the way that you want him to, but giving him that freedom to do
yes.
his thing, to do his purging on his own is huge.
Yeah, because I think I said to you that it's their space, not mine. Their bedroom
Yeah,
is their space. So, how they want to organize it, how they want to clean it, how they want to make it look may not be how I want to make it look. But again, it's
yeah,
their space. That is their room. You're giving it over to them. And it
yeah,
may not be what you want it to be, but to them, they're trying to learn who they are. So, they need to make it what he wants to make it.
yeah. So, dear mamas, release what
The
would we call
control,
it? The
the
control
control of the space. Putting
when it comes.
your,
Yep.
how would you say it? It's like putting your expectations on them. Grow.
Yeah.
Granted, you want them to have a clean room. I mean, every
Sure.
person, they need to learn to clean their room, but how they organize their knickknacks and toys and Legos. Devin is a huge Lego guy. Legos, even books.
Hmm.
It's their shelving. It's their top of their dresser. I have my dresser a certain way. He has his dresser a certain way. And I just have to respect that that's how he wants it. And I remember my mom letting me be who I wanted to be. I remember my
Wow.
mom letting me put what I wanted to put on the dresser, you know, the way I wanted it to be. So
That is a
that is a
great.
hard control, though. That from someone who, I only got one. So it's that giving up that control, it's hard.
Yeah. Oh man, Danielle, that's so funny because we could probably talk about that in a separate episode because everybody has their own personality. Everybody
Hmm.
has their own way of
Right.
organizing and to end in you've got to, live with your loved ones in a household where you have different ways
Hmm.
of doing things and I love what you said to release that control. And how did it feel releasing that
It was great
control?
because you know what? I'm not nagging him as much. I'm not
Mhm.
saying, babe, where does this go? Babe, where does this go? Like, it's me letting him be him. And I'll come in and say, okay, well, we do, tell me. Like, sometimes I'll have him explain it to me because I just want to know his thinking. Like, you have a
Yeah.
lot of stuff. Do we really need, yes, mom, I need this for this, or I need this for this. And he has to learn what is important to him without me telling him, well, this is important because grandma gave it to you, or this is important because a friend gave it to you.
Ooh, that's good. Yeah.
Because they have to learn what's important to them by who they think it's important to them, not by me saying, oh my gosh, grandma gave that to you. That's super important. But for him to learn that mom gave it to me, or dad gave it to me, or grandma gave it to me, or, whichever person gave it to him, he needs to figure out why that's important to him, or realizing, you know, it's just a souvenir. I don't need this. I got the
Yeah.
use out of it that you did. You've had it a couple years. Let's time to move on. But he has to learn that because I think I had to learn that. And it's taken me 42 years to learn that. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
still learning what's important. Or if I'm in a separate town we're on vacation, Danielle, do you really need that? What are you going to honestly do with it in a year from now?
Yeah. Yeah. And
You
those are
know?
hard. Those are hard questions, but they're so important because it truly does prevent you from taking more items in,
Yes.
taking more clutter into your home.
The other thing is learning to organize within your house what you have and relocating it to somewhere else. That's the other
Yeah.
way I've learned to not bring more into my house is organizing it within itself, making it look new in a different room.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
So
So much,
we could go
so
on for
many
hours,
nuggets.
Grace.
We sure can, Danielle. I don't know. There might be an opportunity as a co-host here. What? Let's see,
So
But thank you. So one last thing, and I know you have already given so much, so many tips and so much advice even through this, and I'm learning myself as I'm listening to you, seriously. But to end to wrap up our conversation, because you and I, we
we
can
could
go
talk
on.
for hours.
We can talk.
Yes.
What advice would you give to a fellow working mom when it comes to home organizing?
Just go with it at the moment.
Mhm.
Let it be. So, like I said earlier, if you organize something now and it doesn't work out later, you just learn a new tip. There's always new tips to learn. And like I said, with Devon's space, with your child's space, let them have their space. Don't so much. I think they always say the saying, oh my gosh, I'm just like my mom or I'm just like my dad. It's
Yeah,
because they learn that from you. So you have to
sure.
let them be. And if they get older and they are like their moms or like their dads, then that was their choice. But you also have to let them learn to be who they are you know, in a safe environment,
Sure.
that they're not like, out of control, but that that is this. And that's what we had talked about, that their space is their space and not mine.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And
So
my kiddo is 3.5, and I'm going to remember that
I know. Well, yeah. And like I
when
said,
it
and
gets
be easy
hard.
on yourself,
Yeah.
because it can't always be perfect. Like, I think there's a saying out there like, welcome to my chaos or something. Kids are having fun here, at the house. Your house doesn't always have to be pristine clean. It can be organized and dirty at the same time. Not dirty, but chaos in your organization. Other people may look at it and be like, that's not organized, but in your head that it's organized because you know exactly where everything goes, no
Yep.
matter what.
And that's a big definition of organization, when
Yes.
you know where things are and
Yes.
you know where to find them
Yes.
right away.
Yes.
So,
Like, for example, my charger to the laptop for my husband and I to know exactly where it's at. It's in the garage on a shelf. It's not in the office. It's in the garage on the shelf. But we both
yeah.
know where it's at, that we have found a good place for it to be.
Awesome. And that's huge, because you're not scurrying around going,
Nope.
where to
Where
go?
is
Where did I
it?
put it last night? I don't know. And then all this time passes, you searching for it. So
Yes.
you've got your spot. So thank you for taking the time. I'm
Yeah.
so glad that we had this conversation, and I know that many others will be blessed by it. So thanks,
Oh,
Danielle.
thank you. Thank you so much, Grace.
Hey, real quick, if you enjoyed today's episode, the best way to thank me is by leaving an iTunes review. If you're listening to me right now on your iPhone, simply scroll down, click write a review within the podcast, and voila, you'll get a chance to click 5 stars and type in how the podcast has helped you. You can also access iTunes on your computer if you're not an iPhone user by downloading the iTunes app. Also, I offer virtual organizing, and that means we get to hop on Zoom together wherever you are, and I can help you organize your space for a fraction of a price that you would spend hiring an in-person organizer. Contact me by email, hello@organizewithgrace.com, so you and I can get started. I offer a free 15-minute assessment to see if we're a good match to work together. So get on it, girl. Stop being stuck on your organizing journey. I'll help you walk forward so you can finish that organizing project that you've been procrastinating on. No judgment here, done it myself, but you know what I'm talking about, girl. All right. Can't wait to talk to you. Bye.